It is 6:40 here in New Mexico. Still dark outside. Yep, still dark. We're in the book of Leviticus chapter 5. Just getting that little bit of that coffee. God bless you guys. Let's hop right to it. If a person sins because he does not speak up when he hears a public charge to testify regarding something he has seen or learned about, he will be held responsible. Or if a person touches any ceremonially unclean, whether the carcass of an unclean wild animal or of an unclean livestock or of unclean creatures that move along the ground, even though he is unaware of it, he has become unclean and is guilty. Or if he touches human uncleanliness, anything that would make him unclean, even though he is unaware of it, when he learns of it, he will be guilty. If if a person thoughtlessly takes an oath to do anything, whether good or evil, in any matter one might carelessly swear about, even though he is unaware of it, in any case, when he learns of it, he will be guilty. When anyone is guilty in any of these ways, he must confess in what way he has sinned, and as a penalty for the sin he has committed, he must bring to the Lord a female lamb or a goat from the flock as a sin offering, and the priest shall make atonement for him for his sin. If he cannot afford a lamb, he is to bring 2 doves or 2 young pigeons to the Lord as a penalty for his sin, one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. He is to bring them to the priest, who shall offer the one for the sin offering. He is to wring its head from its neck, not severing it completely, and is to sprinkle some of the blood of the sin offering against the side of the altar. The rest of the blood must be drained out at the base of the altar. It is a sin offering. The priest shall then offer the other as a burnt offering in the prescribed way, and make atonement for him for the sin he has committed, and he will be forgiven. If, however, he cannot afford 2 doves or 2 pigeons, he is to bring as an offering for his sin a tenth of an ephah of fine flour for a sin offering. He must not put oil or incense on it, because it is a sin offering. He is to bring it to the priest, who shall take a handful of it as a memorial portion, and burn it on the altar on top of the sin offering made to the Lord by fire. It is a sin offering. In this way, the priest will make atonement for him for any of these sins he has committed, and he will be forgiven. The rest of the offering would belong to the priest, as in the case of the grain offering. The Lord said to Moses, when a person commits a violation and sins unintentionally in regard to any of the Lord's holy things, he is to bring to the Lord a penalty, a ram from the flock, one without defect and of the proper value in silver according to the sanctuary shekel. It is a guilt offering. He must make restitution for what he has failed to do in regard to the holy things, add a fifth of the value to that, and give it to all the priests, who will make atonement for him with a ram as a guilt offering, and he will be forgiven. If a person sins and does what is forbidden in any of the Lord's commands, even though he does not know it, he is guilty and will be held responsible. He is to bring to the priest as a guilt offering a ram from the flock, one without defect and of proper value. In this way, the priest will make atonement for him for the wrong he has committed unintentionally, and will be forgiven. It is a guilt offering. He has been guilty of wrongdoing against the Lord. The only thing I can expound on that is my impression is sin is you have to confess it, right? This person, if a person sins because he does not speak up when he hears a charge to testify regarding something he has seen and learned about, he will be held responsible. So it's like a false testimony, in this particular case. But then there's verse 2. If a person touches anything ceremonially unclean, whether the carcass of an unclean wild animal or unclean livestock or unclean creatures. All right, so what does that mean? We don't follow these ceremonially unclean things anymore. What does that mean? What I see here is, don't touch anything unclean. It's not talking about like these animals or a dead person. I think he's talking about living a holy life. Holy life, holy life, holy life, holy life. What does holy life mean? Holy, set apart, dedicated to the Lord. I want to be holy. I have been, well, let's just say that none of us are well, let's just put it this way. My desire is to be holy. And what does holy mean to me? Holy means this. All right, say that God created you. You're a toothpick, nice green toothpick, right? And you're meant to be used. You're meant to be on the Lord's table. For example, I don't know why I'm saying this, but you're meant to be on the Lord's table, right? So you're on the Lord's table, and you're serving God, and then something over here catches your attention. Man, that would be cool. Then you get around the wrong guys, girls, and then you get involved in the revelries. Like in the Old Testament, you had they would start off like with something small, and next thing you know, the people were led astray, like making idols out of gold, the gold calf. Whenever Moses was just gone for what, a month and 10 days, roughly, a month and 12 days. Chapter 6. Oh, before I go on, so when we sin, when we touch unclean things, and let's say right now, if I were just to put down this, right, to me this is like the most pure, beautiful. I wish I could put it all in my heart, because then all those around me would benefit, and also I would just so benefit, and it's a pure, holy thing. And what is unholy? Well, let's say I just went to TD's. It's a strip club here, I think, in Albuquerque, and then pay for a call girl, or say I went to a club, and my only intention was to find some girl to have sex with. It's not very clean. It's not very holy. Chapter 6. The Lord said to Moses, if anyone sins and is unfaithful to the Lord by deceiving his neighbor about something entrusted to him or left in his care or stolen, or if he cheats him, or if he finds lost property and lies about it, or if he swears falsely, oh my gosh, some family members, this reminds me of my brother and sister, or if he swears falsely, or if he commits any such sin that the people may do, when he thus sins and becomes guilty, he must return what he has stolen or taken by extortion, or what was entrusted him, or the lost property he found, or whatever it was he swore falsely about. He must make restitution in full, add a fifth of value to it, and give it to the owner on the day he presents the guilt offering. Well, Dolores, Rick, you guys hear the prescription? Let me put it this way, I'm not going to hold my breath that those who have wronged me will come and try to make restitution, let alone, or not restitution, but bring it up and then let alone make restitution. And as a penalty, he must bring to the priest, that is to the Lord, his guilt offering, a ram from the flock, one without defect, and of the proper value. In this way, the priest will make atonement for him before the Lord, and he will be forgiven for any of these things he did that made him guilty. The Lord said to Moses, give Aaron and his sons this command. They are the regulations for the burnt offering. The burnt offering is to remain on the altar earth throughout the night till morning, and the fire must be kept burning on the altar. The priest shall then put on his linen clothes with linen undergarments next to his body, and shall remove the ashes of the burnt offering that the fire has consumed on the altar, and place them beside the altar. Then he is to take off these clothes and put on others, and carry the ashes outside the camp to a place that is ceremonially clean. The fire on the altar must be kept burning and must not go out. Every morning the priest is to add firewood and arrange the burnt offering on the fire and burn the fat of the fellowship offerings on it. The fire must be kept burning on the altar continuously. It must not go out. These are the regulations for the grain offering. Aaron's sons are to bring it before the Lord in front of the altar. The priest is to make a handful of fine flour and oil together with all the incense on the grain offering and burn the memorial portion. Let's see if I got that right. Yes. Memorial portion on the altar as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. Aaron and his sons. Wow, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. You know, a lot of times the incense, these sacrifices, the smoke or whatever, whenever it says it's an aroma pleasing to the Lord, it's not the burning meat. Trust me, no. There's nothing good smell about flesh that is burning. Okay, so God does not receive pleasure from the smell of burning carcasses. It's the symbol. It's the sacrifice. So say I did something wrong in my family, and I confess it, and I bring whatever prescribed sacrifice it is. That's thing that God finds wonderful about that is that I realize it because that's away from Him. I correct myself. I put myself in line with Him. And when they burn it, it's like a prayer that goes up to Him. Okay, so remember all that. I'm going to tie it in this. So last month and a half, maybe month, God has put someone on my heart to pray for, right? And and sometimes it's at the weirdest times. You know, sometimes most of the time it's throughout the day. But like last night, it was at night, and the night before it was at night, really strong, and you know, I'm just going to speak as it comes to my mind, and I was kind of perturbed or bothered by it, you know. That's just me, I guess, my flesh. And I was like, why am I praying for this person so doggone much? And I pray and I pray and I pray, and it would be long. I mean, it would be like, it seemed like an hour or something, you know, when I'm trying to go to sleep, and I couldn't until I just poured out my heart before God, and it's like that, and now I feel kind of not bad, but I see it like this, is that, you know, last night I was like, oh man, I'm still praying, you know, and then I came across something that showed that this person is still recovering from something, and then I had this like huge compassion, because that person really helped me bounce back to be 100%, and I wanted them to bounce back so that they get 100%, because they help other people, and just it's what's on my heart. And so now I see that my prayer, like when I was praying last night, and just couldn't stop, but just kept on, and it felt it. I'm pouring out to God. I'm pouring out my heart in this person's behalf and their family's behalf, and I just well, like the feeling last night was, you know, after a while I was like, man, I'm still praying for this person. What is it? You know, I really never had it like this. I've had it before where you're praying for somebody, but like for such a while. It's been a while, and it's fine, and I'm open to that. And I feel kind of bad because I was questioning God, or maybe it was like a little bit of a inconvenience because it was cutting into some sleep or something. I wanted to go to bed and get some rest, and here I am thinking and praying about this person, and and that's just my weakness. I'm just being open, you know. I wish I could say, oh, I was praying and I was fired, and I was fired up, but I also had that little bit in me that's like, man. So now that I read this, I see it like when I'm praying there, and this is my words and my heart is being poured out before God. I see it like He breathes in my prayer, and it's pleasing to Him. It's an aroma. It's He receives that, and He says, you know what? This is my boy. He's praying for my girl or my people, and it's just wonderful. It really is. You know what? I don't even know where the world I was, but I'm just going to continue. Okay. The Lord, verse 24, chapter 26. The Lord said to Moses, say to Aaron and his sons, these are the regulations for the sin offering. The sin offering is to be slaughtered before the Lord, and the place of the burnt offering is slaughtered. It is most holy. The priests who offer it shall eat it. It is to be eaten in the holy place in the courtyard of the tent of meeting. Whatever touches any of the flesh shall become holy, and if any of the blood is spattered on a garment, you must wash it in a holy place. The clay pot the meat is cooked in must be broken, but if it is cooked in the bronze pot, the pot is to be scoured and rinsed with water. Any male in the priest's family may eat it. It is most holy. But any sin offering whose blood is brought into the tent of meeting to make atonement in the holy place must not be eaten. It must be burned. So, I'm just go ahead and go on to chapter 7. Let's see if I can. I read 5 and 6. I'm probably going to go ahead and shut this one down because we're getting close to the 20-minute mark. But we'll go ahead and expound on chapter 6 and 7 one more time. Chapter 6 is talking about, or 5, talking about being holy, not touching anything that's unclean, right? How does that apply to our life? Well, you're going through your day, you probably know some things out there that aren't good for you. You know, there's like something bothering you. And I'm not going to mention because it could be one of 1,000 things. You could be getting off of work and be like, man, I can't wait to get out of work, man. I'm going to go buy me a crack rock. Or can't wait to get out of work. My friend's wife gets off work. He's still at work, and I'm going to go over and visit her, you know, or just crazy stuff. Just crazy. Don't touch that shit. And I'll say shit, man. It's not a big bad word in the Bible study. Don't touch that shit. Don't mess with that shit. It's going to benefit you if you just walk away. Just trust me, man. I've done stuff like this. You know, I've done bad things. And looking back, if I were to have gone a different direction, say instead of to do it something bad, I just went home, or I prayed for 30 minutes, or I read scriptures, or I called someone that's good to you, and have avoided that. Now, who knows how much that would have benefited me versus. So don't touch anything that's unclean. That's what it's saying in chapter 5. Be holy. Have a desire to be holy. Man. Thank God. And recently, you know, His Spirit's delivered me, and through the power of His Holy Spirit and Him bringing people to encourage you and speak the right words to you at the right time, He's delivered me. He has filled me when I was low, and I felt like I was almost dying inside or something. God resurrected me inside, man. I'm like strong again, and that only comes through desiring to be close to God. And you know, and I'll say this too, is if you're battling and they fail today, right? So say you have this unclean thing that you just, you should walk away and quit touching it, but you really like touching it, right? And it's not a literal touch. It could be you like going to this particular bar or a venue or gatherings or whatever this thing is. You know it's not the best thing for you. You know it's not clean. You know it's not holy. So don't go. And chapter 6. It's just talking about, the prescription for sin. And the consequence every time is death. Either it's going to be death for a dove and a pigeon, or a ram, or a goat, or something like that. But every time sin, it brings death into your life. I want you guys to have life full. I want to have life full. I want my daughter to have life full. I want my friends to have life full. I want I want to change my environment so that people around me start to follow God, and then their life is full. Not touching the bull crap out there. Don't go touch unclean shit. Don't spend your time in it. Don't wallow in it. Maybe get close where you help people get out, but don't get so close that you fall in. God bless you guys. I'm closing this one out. The next one will be chapter 7 onward. God bless.